Which Thor is the most mythologically accurate? This one? This one? This one? Are the real Loki and Thor even brothers? I'll tell you that at the end, but I'll tell you one thing right now, right here. The real mythological Thor cannot fly. He rides a chariot drawn by goats. Seriously. The goats are called Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder because, duh, what else would you name your goats? And they are immortal. So what does mythological glutton Thor do? He eats them every night and sees them reborn the next morning. It's just his way of showing love, y'all. So Marvel got that dead wrong with the hammer swinging and flying, and while Records of Ragnarok doesn't show Thor flying at all, in God of War, we'll see, but I'm guessing they're not gonna have him on a chariot drawn by goats. God of War's Thor does have that Santa look down though, so the chariot would suit him, but did the real Thor have a belly like that? Well, the thing is, the texts of Norse mythology often describe Thor as a glutton. I mean, the dude eats his own goats. And a drunk, but also as an incredibly muscular man. Now, you can refer to some of the world's strongest men and point out their bellies, but either way, it's possible Thor looked like this, but it's more likely that Records of Ragnarok and Marvel's chiseled body are closer to the fact. The red hair though, God of War's Thor got that right, and so does Records of Ragnarok. The real Thor was not a walking, talking, blonde beauty standard. Thor is a redhead, and there's a reason for that. It's meant to symbolize his fiery temper and the fire associated with the lightning he wields. And speaking of that temper, what all three got right is that Thor wasn't your perfect all-American hero. He was drinking,
don't care, couldn't care less,
prone to being lazy.
Is he asleep?
He was silly at times,
Noob Master, hey, it's Thor again. You know, the god of thunder?
but also he was kind of a prick with serious anger management issues and would regularly throw fits if things weren't going his way, and also literally smash enemy to pieces, like you dead and your skull is broken into pieces. Not quite MCU friendly. At the slightest offense, and ironically, he got that hammer he was doing the pieces smashing with from the club president of offending Thor, Loki. Yep, not Odin. Loki gave Thor his hammer in the mythology. And why? Because one time Loki said he would cut the hair of Thor's wife. Because Loki stuff. And Thor got so mad that he was gonna, smash that Loki skull to pieces. And again, dead, broken skull pieces. So to apologize, Loki got Thor the hammer as a gift. He went to two great dwarven blacksmiths and issued the order. But because he's still Loki, he transformed into a fly as they were smithing and bit one of the dwarves in the eye. Because, again, Loki stuff. And the dwarf had to take his hand off his work, covered his eye, it was hurting all. And that's why the hammer's handle is so short and why it can only be wielded with one hand. But Thor was still happy about the gift and forgot all about his wife's hair. Easy to anger, easy to please. I guess Marvel got that right. And speaking of the hammer, everybody got Mjolnir right. But Marvel also has Stormbreaker, which does not exist in the Norse mythology. But there are other items in mythology that make Thor the strongest of the gods.
I'm the strongest Avenger, okay?
There's the gauntlets, Jangreiper, I think that's how you say it, which Records of Ragnarok has, and they are necessary for Thor to even wield the hammer, though the reason as to why varies. Some mythological texts say it's to compensate for the short handle. Pause. Others say it's to handle the force with which the hammer returns to Thor's hand when thrown, which it always returns, by the way. Every depiction got that right. And then there's a third item featured in Norse mythology, the Megingjord belt, which simply doubles Thor's power. Yeah, I know, that sounds like a Diablo item. But every depiction of Thor gets right, though, is his strength. All of Asgard relies on Thor's protection, because he is, despite his father being the god of gods, the strongest of the gods. What is barely ever mentioned though is that Thor is also 3/4 Jotun. You know, the blue giants that he slays by the thousands and that are always the bad guys? Thor was born to a Jotun mother, Jord, who was so massive that she was considered the personification of Earth. Yeah, that sounds like a Yo Mama So Fat joke. And his father is obviously Odin, god of the gods, who is half Jotun himself, making Thor 3/4 Jotun. That's ironic, since the Jotun from Jotunheim are the sworn enemies of Asgard, and Thor prides himself in one of his nicknames being the Slayer of Jotun. His Jotun blood is part of the reason that Thor is as strong as he is. Marvel, meanwhile, has Loki down as half Jotun, but not Thor. But in reality, Thor is more Jotun than Loki, who is only half Jotun and not Thor's half-brother. In the mythology, the two are not related. Loki is merely an associate, a companion to Thor, to Odin, but not Odin's son and not Thor's brother. He's still a trickster, he's still mischievous and up to no good and all that, but not the brother. So now that you have the facts, who do you think did the mythological Thor more justice? Records of Ragnarok, Marvel, or God of War? I gotta say that I'm surprised how Records of Ragnarok, time and time again, is more historically accurate than one might think. Like even the Valkyries, they get a lot right on those. I have a whole video on that, so you might enjoy that. And if you enjoyed this, you know, every follow goes a long way in supporting me, so maybe remove that plus right there. And if you follow, I'll see you soon, alright? Alright.